Good afternoon and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today it is myself, Captain Coop, and I have our wonderful Brian with us today.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. Welcome.
So thanks, guys. If you didn't notice, I was missing, and I wanted to first send a huge shout out to everybody who picked up the slack, for lack of a better way of saying it, while I was gone.
You just helped out.
Brian, Mike, and McFarland did a fantastic job with the podcast while I was gone. I was dealing with a family emergency. I'm not going to go into detail on it, but I just wanted to send do a huge shout out for those guys for picking up the slack and taking over while I was gone and dealing with this. So thank you guys so much.
You told me we were going to talk about it in detail. You sat down like, I'm going to share every detail. I want to talk in depth. No? Okay. Maybe I misunderstood.
I think you misunderstood.
It's pretty common, isn't it, for people to come back and be like, I had a fan. Oh, tell me everything. No? Oh.
I mean, it has been, but I don't really want to talk about it.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought I read the room wrong.
Thompson, hey, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Gary, I am back.
Speed.
Thank you for joining us as well. Appreciate it, guys, so much. For those of you who did know and sent me messages, and thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. It means a lot. But other than that, I really didn't have anything. I kind of threw it on Brian last second here because McFarland's in the middle of something. So I was like, hey, come up with something. And
It was an eyebrow emergency. He said something about not being on fleek, or I can't remember exactly what he said. I thought that was it.
Oh, he's going to love that one. You're going to call him on fleek?
Yeah. On fleek McFarland.
Oh, no.
McFleekin?
What the? No. I don't know what's going on here. But no, so other than that, I didn't really have anything. I just wanted to say, hey, guys, thanks and welcome. I'm back. Other than that, I saw a couple of the podcasts. Or I saw one of them while I was gone, and you actually had Mike here. And you guys were talking about something, but I wasn't really paying attention. Mike yelled at me.
Oh.
Not yelled, but he was like, you're not supposed to be here.
Oh, yeah, you were on chat. No, we were talking about...
Justin, thanks for joining us.
We were talking about analytics, artificial intelligence with video analytics. I thought it was interesting.
I thought it was pretty cool, too. I mean, I listened to more than I watched just because I was in the hospital at the time and everything. Mm-hmm. And one of the nurses had actually heard it before because I turned it on and I was putting my headphones in.
Right.
Before I could get it connected, it came up.
Yeah.
And she heard AI.
Oh.
And she just stopped and looked at me and I went, it's a security podcast. And she just kind of like, what?
Don't judge. Well, I'm glad that rash is cleared up for you. I know that was a major problem. So
Absolutely.
You got to deal with that when you got to deal with it.
Hey, man, you got to take care of the business that way.
You got to take care of the business. No, we had a good conversation around artificial intelligence and all that. And in the last podcast, we talked about...
that is not new lore, Thompson. Quit it.
We talked about the helping out, and
Alec.
We were going to put together a PDF, and actually we're very close. We had one for St. Louis about like shelters and places if you can hand out to help people. So what we're doing is we're developing one for the Kansas City area. So we just need a little bit more time we want to make sure the information's accurate, and then we'll get that posted. So that was a good conversation.
You guys were talking about, I remember that was the last podcast.
That was last week.
Didn't actually, I think I chimed in for like all of 10 seconds. I didn't say anything, but I jumped in and watched a little bit of it.
It was a huge relief. We're like, whew.
I don't blame you. But developing resources like that for some of those communities where you're able to use that, I think is a fantastic thing to have.
Yeah.
I know when I worked patrol overnight, to kind of go back on the podcast about it a little bit, but when I worked patrol overnight, I tried to memorize all of those because I didn't think about writing it down at the time. Mm-hmm. But I tried to memorize all of those numbers and have that stuff ready to go. And if I needed it, I had that resource available. I could say, hey, I could help you out and stuff like that. And something else I did that was more of a personal note, I usually kept about 4 or 5 waters in the car.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So if I ran across somebody that needed it or was asking for it, hey, you know what? Let's make a deal. You're not supposed to be here. I really don't want to do anything hardcore on you about it.
Let me help you. You can help me.
And I'd be like, oh, well, I'm just looking for something to eat, or I'd have like snack food and stuff that I had in the car. Nothing major, but I mean, it was like trail mix and stuff like that. So I'd be like, hey, look, man, I'll give you some snacks and I'll give you water if you do me a favor and just bounce off the property.
Yeah, they sell those at Costco to those giant,
the big old
and then they've
boxes.
got individual little packets inside of it, so you don't have to dig around.
That's I had a friend go to it was Sam's Club is where we got when I got mine.
Yeah,
but I used to have him do that on Sam's Club. But
that's a good tip.
Yeah, that's what. Like I say, it was more out of my own personal pocket than it was anything else. But I mean, it was pretty cheap, and it was a really good tactic that I was able to use.
And plus, you had trail mix when you were driving around, in case you.
Believe it or not, I didn't eat any of it.
I don't believe that.
I'm not a big trail mix guy. I will say I used to be a big M&M guy, so I used to have a couple of things of M&Ms in my bag. Mm-hmm. But trail mix, I would.
That's fair. That's on brand.
The one thing that gets me is I can't remember what those. It's those little. It's like the little.
Back
cookies.
to food again. How long was it? Hold on. How long are we in? We're back to
5
food.
minutes.
5 minutes. Oof. New records here. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying.
No, it's those Triscuit cookies, like the ones that are they're in trail mix, I think.
Sorry, it sounded like you said in trail mix.
No, they're in trail mix. I can't
I
remember
was
what they're
like,
called.
oh, that
though.
sounds horrible.
But it's
You've
like
always wanted some in trail mix. We got it from the farm. This is my
Fresh.
This is my uncle from way down south.
Hey,
we
Sarah.
got our in trail mix. It's right here.
Oh,
Just mix it up.
Lord.
It's like those things on Amazon where it's like donkey brains in heavy cream or something. It's like fake food you can buy for joke gifts.
What?
Yeah, it's like a possum
No.
in something gravy or whatever. It's like wow, that would be. That'd be
I will
great.
say I actually know a Southern family that if you ever watch them cook and if you ever they'll hit the pot and they'll tell you if you ever hear someone in the kitchen hit the pot, don't ask questions, just know that it's good.
It's gonna be all right. Fair enough.
If you're ever in a Southern house and you hear someone cooking in the kitchen, you hear boom.
I was kind of curious with the folks watching the show today. The folks, hey folks, I've always wanted to get some feedback or questions from chat about things that are coming up or things they're seeing in the field or things that they want to hear about that would be helpful or informative. Just get some feedback or be able to talk about with them on the show. And if anybody watching today had any top of mind. Any top of mind questions or stories from the field or feedback, I'd love to hear that too, to be able to interact a little bit with the crew, because we're coming into, like we talked about, we're coming into a new season, and there's always new things going on in the world of security. And our Titan officers are very obviously boots on the ground and seeing things in real time and dealing with it. So love to hear about that training that's going on or things that you may have learned in the past couple weeks being on the mean streets, or whatever. Would definitely love to talk about that too, for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you guys had any stories or anything like that you guys want to bring up, put it in chat. We'll talk about it. Kind of give Brian a rude awakening of what the world is. It's the world
What
of
is
security.
the world, Coop?
New Halloween snack. Oh no, Entrail Mix sponsored by. No entrails were harmed in the making of this snack.
How does that work? No entrails were harmed.
It's funny that it's like for Halloween. That's kind of what it makes me think of. My stepdad used to do with my grandma, his mom. They would do a candy mix, but they would put spaghetti on top of it.
Oh yeah.
So you had to reach through the entrails to
Yeah,
get to the candy.
I love that
underneath.
when they do the eyeballs or the whatever. And by the way, Suzanne, thank you. I'm hurt. McFarlane couldn't make it, but I mean the context there is, who's this guy? Where's McFarlane? This guy sucks. Let's get McFarlane back. So thank you, Suzanne. That's a good feeling.
It's okay. Only one person, only two people said welcome back to me. I don't even think Suzanne missed me at all.
No,
so
Suzanne didn't.
That's fine.
She's a
I know
very
who her favorite is nowadays. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay.
cold person.
But yeah, so I mean, when that's kind of what that
Just
made me
kidding.
think of there. Yes, I see. Oh no! Don't bring up the wheelchair. Benoit.
Yeah.
Horrible. He's fine. Don't let him make you think otherwise. He's okay.
I'm loving watching Leon push around with a big old grin on his face.
Still kind of waiting to push him down the stairs.
That's gonna happen. You heard it first, folks. You're the Nostradamus of McFarlane, like damaging.
Well, it was one of those. It's one of those as you read it and as you see it, you're just like, that looks like a recipe for disaster.
Suzanne's
We've
trying
already
make
tried
up
to
now.
trip him.
You can't make up, Suzanne. The damage has been done. The pain is too deep. I will never recover.
No, yeah, nah, it's not gonna happen, Suzanne. You've already cut me.
It's too bad.
Already cut me.
Suzanne's got a lot of ground to make up. So yeah, lots of things definitely going on. I understand there was a football game yesterday.
Sure.
Oh, we're the wrong people for that, aren't we? I realized.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just remembered we're the wrong people for that.
On top of not knowing football.
The foosball. Yeah, so that was a thing that happened apparently. I'm loving the cold weather. I went out and had cigars with a buddy yesterday. It was perfect weather outside. It was the kind of thing where you need a hammock and some bourbon and a cigar, and just like the weather is, the wind is low, and it's just like that feeling where the temperature is the same as you. You're like, oh, everything's perfect.
Are you saying that you're cold inside?
I'm cold and dead inside.
Okay.
No. I'm all for fall, man. All for fall.
I prefer fall personally when it comes to that type of thing. I like the cooler weather. Does that count as a use of force? I don't.
I think Leon is a walking use of force.
You're on your own.
In a good way.
You're on your own.
As far as Suzanne goes, if
Boss,
people want to,
I got nothing in on this.
if people want to send in cookies and coffee to the show, we'll definitely, we'll try things on the show. Bringing in no entrails mix, but we'll try a number of other things.
See, this is what happens when I come back. It derails the complete show, and then we don't do anything useful anymore.
That's
you
on
guys
you.
had some great podcasts when I wasn't here about
We had some okay
AI and stuff
podcasts,
like
yeah.
that, and then I come back and completely
Just
derail it.
entrails and and coffee and cookie talk. Yeah, that's the big time stuff. No, I think there's definitely some interesting things going on in the world of security. It's weird. It's like, I know that there's cyclical times where in the summertime it gets more difficult, but there's their own challenges during the winter time.
I wouldn't say it gets. I'd say each season comes with its own challenges. I wouldn't say one's more difficult than the other. Personally,
That's fair,
I think that each season presents its own difficulties, and I think they're just as difficult. It just the seasons can really change. Change the kind of dynamic that you've got with that, and what you can do, what you can't do, what resources are available, which aren't available during certain things. And I think when you get into fall and you start looking into the winter, where you've got your summer, the summer issues are, it's so hot, everyone's trying to find a place to hide from the sun and the heat. In the winter, everyone's trying to hide from the cold. So you go from everybody trying to hang out in the shade and they're okay being on the outside of the property, to where now you've got, in the winter, everyone's trying to be inside the property. And so you'll find more people hanging out in those entryways and stuff like that, the foyers and stuff like that.
So you got to be keeping an eye out at different locations.
Yeah. And so it changes the dynamic. Instead of having it, I got to check the back of the building or the side of the building where these alleys are, where it's dark and it's easy to hang out. Now I've got to start checking the stairwell entrances and the foyer entrances because they're trying to get inside where the heat is, or at least
keep
a warmer version of outside is.
Update your roots. Don't stick to a routine you may be used to. Which that's interesting. I was going to ask you, what do you do for continuing education, or what are some resources for people in the security world, security officers, not only like within the company? What are the? I'd like you to talk a little bit about, within Titan, let's say, resources for ongoing education, and then also just in the security world in general. Like, what are you looking at? What are you keeping an eye on to keep yourself up to date, to keep us on the cutting edge of what we're doing here?
So, funny enough, for the past 2 weeks, nothing. No. So generally for me, for continued education, the things that I used to do as an officer, or wanted to keep learning and growing and understanding some of this stuff, is I would harp on my supervisors. That was a big thing for me, and they used to. They got tired of my phone calls, but I would call and ask, try to understand a situation or a question, or if I had an incident, and I thought I handled it pretty good, but I was like, I think there might be a better way. I would call and talk to a supervisor, and I would talk as long as they let me before they'd be like, hey man, I got to go.
So proactively reaching out,
and so I'd be like, hey, I had this incident, but what if it went this way, or what if I had this? And if they were like, can you email me that so we can have a better conversation? I would do it that way.
Is that something that means a lot to the supervisors or the supervising officers, for officers that are showing proactive approaches to their careers with the security? Do you think there's a thing where people feel a little should people feel self-conscious of, I don't know if I did this right or correctly, and should they feel worried about that, or is that a great conversation to have?
That's a perfect conversation to have. I've been doing this. I've been in this industry for a decade, and I don't know everything. And so there are still times where I will go to Leon and be like, I don't know if I handled that correctly, or I don't know how to handle this. I don't know how to say this to this customer. I don't know how to say this to this officer. And I'll ask someone who's got 2 decades or more in this, in the industry, and be like, how do I do this? How do I navigate it? Because if you, I went to electrical school, and one of our teachers told us, he goes, if you ever get to a point in your industry where you think you know everything, you're going to get somebody hurt.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because everything's evolving every day. Everything changes every day.
Especially in the world of security too.
And so you're never going to know everything. And to sit there and say, I know everything, you're just asking to get yourself or somebody else hurt. So everything we do is continue knowledge. All we got to do, is trying to learn more and understand more, because we're never going to understand the human psyche. And so that plays a huge role in what we deal with.
I always say people are just, they're every individual is hundreds of billions of variables changing at any given moment. That's just person to person. That's what it's like.
Absolutely.
So, and you'll never fully understand human nature.
And you
to
can
a
have
degree.
one situation start off the exact same way as one in the past, and then within an eighth of a second,
Yeah.
it's changed into
Everything's
something else different.
Yeah.
And so the thing about that continued education and learning, it's not just reach out to your supervisors and funny enough, a big thing that I used to use was YouTube on how to conversation wise, how to do small talk and how to learn these little tricks to talk to people to get them to reveal information that they wouldn't normally do. Now, the problem with doing that is most of it's BS because people just put content out there to put it out there, whether it's true or not. So you've got to
just
understand
filler.
that, right. You got to understand that's not all of it. Everything you watch is going to be good.
What do you think was one of the greatest lessons or things that you picked up on from those pieces of content or out in the field about baseline getting information or getting the truth or getting the bottom of something with people?
I'd say probably this has probably been the best bit of information that I've ever been taught. They're people too. You have to treat them like you expect someone to treat you. If you approach somebody and you're angry and aggressive and you're, yelling at them, you're going to get that same response back. But if you walk up to them and give them the respect, even though they haven't earned it, and a lot of people go, respect is earned, and in most cases, that's 100% correct.
Right.
But when you're talking to somebody random off the street,
In these situations, that's not this. That's like
No.
relational.
Yeah.
That's like, respect is earned when there's some formation of a relationship going on. Whereas when you're dealing with issues in security, a lot of times I heard somebody say once, you're meeting people on the worst day of their lives. A lot of times, not that
Absolutely.
related to police officers, but I don't mean to correlate. But it's similar. It's like,
it's
hey, you're
very
getting
similar.
a phone call. I heard something earlier. Hey, there's a woman who's laying down in the parking lot. It's like that's probably not the best day of her life right now. So, when you're not trying to build a friendship, that relationship, that respect is not being earned. It's like, look, we're dealing with this situation right now. It's different.
there's a base level of respect that you have to give everybody in existence.
Right.
And if you don't show that base level of respect, you're not going to get anything in return.
Right.
And so the biggest thing that I learned, and it was taught to me, was respect everybody. And so as I walk up to somebody, the first thing I do is I introduce myself. Because most of the time when you're trying to talk to somebody, the first thing they want to know is, who are you?
What do you, exactly.
Who are you and what do you want? And it's like, hey, my name's Josh. I work for Titan Protection.
Yeah, here's what I'm here for.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
So here's what's going on. My client has sent me down here to talk to you because you are doing something you're not supposed to do. And that can change. You're hanging out in an area you're not supposed to hang out, or the building's closed and you shouldn't be here at all,
Right.
or you're trespassing because this property is condemned and nobody should be in here
Right.
except for me because
Yeah.
I drew the unlucky straw.
And you probably know that because it was boarded up.
Right. And it's like, hey, so here's the decency. Here's my name. Here's who I am. And
Right.
here's what I'm doing. I just want to have a basic conversation with you to have the understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
And so that way we can make sure that we're both in agreement and say, hey, look, man, I get it. You're cold, or this is what's going on. You're on bad luck. Here are some resources I can give you. Here's what I know. And then let's do this. I'm going to give you this. Let's part ways.
Yeah.
And here he is.
Yeah.
Are you on fleek now?
Is that what it's supposed to be?
That's what Brian said.
On fleek?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had to step away because your eyebrows were getting worked on. I think you said you couldn't. I think you said I can't get on looking like this or something along those lines.
Yeah.
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 I wanted to.
That'd
Well-
be obvious to see.
We'll get to. Far as I want to read some of these if that's all right.
Absolutely. I
I've
was
been
getting ready to
shaved.
read one of them too.
Go ahead.
So we have a good one here from He Who Shall Not Be Named. As the weather gets colder, moods tend to get angrier. The winter months definitely take a bit more finesse and patience from officers in the field, and that's 100% correct. The colder it gets, the more apt somebody is because they're already in an uncomfortable position, being outside, being cold, and probably being extremely cold.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with anybody. They just want to continue what they're doing to try and get warm. And here you are.
They're
You're-
exhausted. And
yeah, you're walking up. You're like, hey, if you don't, and going back to that kind of respect thing, if you don't have that basic decency right there, that, hey, man, I understand it's cold. I understand you're probably frozen to the bones.
They could be losing toe. I mean,
Yeah,
terrible stuff.
And so to approach that with an angry demeanor or anything like that, all you're going to do
That's
is
not
just
gonna help.
make it worse.
Yeah, and
100%.
Suzanne was deeply hurt, and she was saying some pretty offensive things. I think McFarland about you not being here. I mean, it was like,
Yeah.
Brian sucked, Mike sucked. This show is not worth watching without. I mean, there was a lot of things thrown around.
She
but,
definitely made sure to let everybody know that you were her favorite.
Yeah, there was a lot
Who was
going
this?
on there.
Suzanne.
Oh, thank you, Suzanne.
But I want to read another one too. Keep the
Yeah,
comments
see,
coming.
there it is. Yay, McFarland is back.
Yeah,
That's right.
I'm kidding, Suzanne. I'm kidding. The comments are really good, by the way. Everybody's suggesting.
I'm trying to log on to mine right now.
There was Suzanne, she did mention. She said
Sarah,
that
yes, back me up.
a few officers ask questions, and she'll send them to the corporal or sergeant, lieutenant. So she can give. That was always a great
And
thing
that's
to
it.
do.
And another thing too is asking other officers that have been in the in the industry longer than you. You can't guarantee, and if they don't know the answer, most of the time you're going to get an officer like Suzanne who'd be like, "Hey, you know what? That's a really good question. I don't have the answer.
Right.
Let's check that up the chain because they might have they might have the answer."
Because Suzanne is a wonderful officer, by the way. One of you. Now we have to heap extra, so we don't. Because to be honest, I'm afraid those cookies aren't coming. Is what's going on.
From Suzanne?
Yeah, there's feelings, and then there's cookies.
No,
which,
she does make good cookies.
I-
I
she
know.
does.
all right, chocolate. You know, when I was talking about the
My
cigar
face
place.
went numb after I ate them, but then I'm kidding, Suzanne. They were fantastic.
Which state are we in again? And then
What day is it?
Sarah mentioned something about workshops, which could be interesting to do maybe a series on the podcast of like, hey, we're doing a series about just how to interact, how to deal with difficult situations. But that could be interesting. And then the not named ish person.
That's it. I'd be a lot more worried about a stupid mistake than a stupid question. I tell everybody in orientation, I would rather you ask me hundreds of questions because there's no such thing as a stupid question. In this industry, I don't believe that there is a stupid question.
They may make you feel like it's stupid just to bust you up for a minute because that's,
I mean, there are definitely
that's how we
times
do.
where
Yeah, that's how we operate.
say,
If we're not busting your chops,
You're
it's
not
because we don't
loved or-
care.
yeah.
I say there have been times where I've asked a question, and as soon as I stopped asking, I was like, I don't know if I should have asked that out loud.
Yeah.
And then I get an answer, and I'm like, oh, that was definitely not the route I was going to take.
Speaking of which, if you know a fellow officer who should be asking stupid questions that should, send him a text, link him to the podcast, and tell him to jump on and ask some of the
do it
stupid questions.
anonymously or
Yeah,
whatever.
say, hey, you should jump in and ask some questions because we're down for doing that today. Send a link to the podcast, and while you're watching, don't forget to like and subscribe.
The thing
I'm
I
taking
like,
you off camera now.
the thing I like about I always feel like I'm quiet when Coop's running it. When he ran, I was louder. I'm giving you a hard. Oh. I'm sorry.
It's turned into an ASMR show.
Security is amazing. No, but the one thing I always like
little
when
bear?
just it could be my hearing too. What? In the classroom, like every once in a while, I'll fill in to help when Todd takes a day off, which is rare. But I did class one week, and I noticed that there were kids who were asking questions, and you could see kind of their faces light up.
Yeah.
That were like probably too afraid to ask that question.
Yeah, that's always
so
the
it's
thing.
usually a question that your peers will
Everybody's
have.
thinking it.
Yeah, and someone that doesn't have experience, please ask. And even someone that does, because a lot of times we're having to teach bad habits out of people, especially, and you'll know this as a firearms instructor, there's, lots of ways of doing things. And I'm a little more lenient when it comes to, hey, if that's the way you do it and it works, I'm okay with it. And there's some people like, no, this is how you need to do it. And so people have been taught that way or vice versa.
See,
and
that's a big difference when you talk about instructors. You'll always get the same basic information, but like both of us are firearms instructors, and both of us are
we teach very differently.
For lack of a better way, we're also instructors of officers out in the field.
Yes.
Our teaching methods are wildly different.
Yes.
I think that
Absolutely different. When it comes we're both keyed 100% on safety and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's how we teach is so different. Like when it comes to officers in the field,
Yeah, there's-
I'm 100% by the book.
Somebody told
and
me
there's some
once that-
additional
There's some
stuff.
artistic liberty that you take,
Yeah.
and I heard that from I heard from Leon. He's covered in tattoos, and so he's got experience with tattoo artists, and so I always thought like when you get a tattoo, it's like stenciled, like it should be exactly, and they're like, no. There's some artistic liberties that
Yeah.
they take,
Yeah.
and that makes sense. And so I never really thought about that as having been someone that has no tattoos.
That we
I
can
would,
see.
I would be, yeah, exactly. I would be very like, it needs to look exactly like this, but
He's got a big old butterfly on his back.
butterfly in the sky.
it's actually right above my butt cheeks.
Take it easy.
I never looked at it that way, and it is true. That's a person that's obviously not seeing it the way you're seeing it, but is trying to capture, what you want at the same time, also keep their artistic flair to it. And it's kind of the same thing with instructing. When I go down and give my cadence, it's going to be different than the way he does it, and the way I conduct my class is going to be different than the way he does it. But he's right. At the end of the day, we do not waver or differ in safety regulations or qualifications or requirements. And same with our standards for your score. It's going to be the same across the board. And some people are more receptive to my teaching. Some people are more receptive to his teaching, or Chief Leon's, or Instructor Sparks. Those or Tommy. And so there's going to be ways that people learn better. And there's a perfect example. Quick little story. We were me and Leon were at the range, and this is the one that's indoors now. For you armed guys that have been doing it long enough, we're pretty much we are all indoors now, and so we're stuck in this little bunker. And this officer, smaller in stature, won't say any names, but just seems like someone. I mean, this is judging of me. Seems like someone you need to be like, hey, this is how you do it. Let me walk you through this.
Oh.
Was not receptive to that because that's how I coach. I'm a player's coach. I'm like, hey, I've been where you're at. I know, getting screamed at. I do well with that, but not everybody does, and so I try not to scream at everybody. Well, good thing Chief Leon was there because that's how he teaches. He's very in your face. This is how it's going to be, and if you don't do it this way, then it's not going to work. And I took the approach that this is a kind of smaller statured person, probably hasn't been on a lot of sports ball teams, and so isn't used to being screamed at for motivation. Whereas that works for me. I get yelled at. I'm like, yeah, hell
Air
yeah.
quotes motivation.
Let's go do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so I stood back and I go, give it your best, And so Chief Leon stepped up and made some remarks and was very animated and loud. And that person did a complete 180 from shooting in the low 60s to like mid to high 80s. And so that style of teaching, was necessary for that person to be successful. And it's just interesting to see, I guess, like I said, being judgmental of myself being judgmental. I'm like, this person needs to be taught like this. It's just not, you can't tell by looking at somebody.
I heard somebody
need to
say
watch
once
how they
with
do
you're
it.
looking at firearm instructors, they said, never take instruction for the one that doesn't have all their toes. Is that a rule? Is that a rule? Is that true?
I think it's
heard
more
that.
like a shop class. Like
Yeah, I think
you
it's
don't have all your fingers.
It's a shop class.
Yeah,
If you run
oh,
across
shop
shop
class.
class and he's missing a pinky, then I probably wouldn't listen much.
It makes sense with the toes though, because I mean, if you're mishandling and then there goes the big toe, which would probably be a problem, I imagine.
I mean, the big toe's an inner one, so if he's missing a big toe,
Yeah,
that's a
it's
reason.
Anybody with
Wiggling
a
and
badge
wobbling.
that doesn't have Velcro. Sorry, that was
Yeah,
funny.
that was pretty funny. I was trying to look past that
Supervisors.
because we may have Velcro every once in a while. By the way, I've heard that I have been somebody volunteered me to sign up for defensive class.
Defensive tactics.
Defensive tactics.
Nice.
With extreme prejudice towards my training, apparently. So I'm a little bit nervous, but we'll see what happens here.
This is a special shout out to Sarah. That was a very unique talent you had that day. And I have
was gonna
told
mention it.
I have told that story to many classes since. I've never used your name. I guess now I am.
I was going to say that's on the internet now.
I've kept that very confidential that you had the ability to do that, and I was impressed. So that was it was just a little story that I'll tell classes because some people have a really hard time loading magazines.
It'd be great
you
if
know.
he who shall not be named starts a fandom for the Titan podcast with all this lore that's dropping.
I don't know what he's doing with that.
A little bit of a fandom database of the Titan podcast
So,
lore.
New McFarlane lore just dropped. What does that mean?
That means like your backstory, like a Batman
your
has lore. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
have you ever heard of the term
So-
canon? Something's canon.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's like that. It means
I
that
like
it's
the idea of
it's
being like
part,
Batman,
part
though.
of your history.
So the best way to describe it is like superheroes. So Spider-Man has a backstory.
Sure. Peter Parker, right?
Yeah.
And
Peter Parker, how his uncle dies, his like his father, stuff like that.
Uncle Ben.
That's his lore.
Yeah.
That,
You're going
so
nowhere,
your,
Spidey.
Yeah. So your lore is you have a tramp stamp.
Oh,
That's a
no,
butterfly.
not true,
part of the
but-
lore.
That's part of your lore now.
That's not really the lore. That would just be a horrible mistake.
Well, that's part of the
like
lore.
that. What's
All
that
right,
movie?
so let's see here. Suzanne says, when do we do hands-on classes? I want to do it when we start doing that again. So for hands-on stuff, when you want to go back to defensive tactics or, or come back to fast or anything
Go
like
to
that,
Bricks and Lee
reach
Summit.
reach out to us, and we can either organize a time for you guys to come back with a Neo class, or if we can get enough people and we get the approval for it, we'll hold a separate training for additional stuff. So just let us know if you guys are interested in stuff like that so we can move forward with that stuff.
I'd love to see some fan art from the TCU, the Titan Cinematic Universe.
I just
I
read
would
that.
be interested.
Please send fan art to
meetings will
info@tpcsecurity.com. Any fan art that you might have.
The
that
morale
would be
meetings?
wonderful. Yeah.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
The
That was really
McFarlane
funny.
and the wheelchair lore and the
I'm
maybe
expecting at least
That's
a
true.
trilogy and 2 spin-offs.
Yeah, see, that's just beating the hell out of a dead horse at that point.
by the way,
What was the? It was just a not shop talk or just BS?
Kinda.
Kind of. Yeah.
Turned
you're
into
just
a
now
shop talk.
asking that.
Yeah.
You've been here for.
It is fall weather.
We were talking
We
about the
already
fall
talked
weather.
about that.
It's fantastic.
It's so good. Pumpkin spice,
No, we haven't talked about that yet.
McFarlane. We are going to.
I haven't
keep,
had one yet this
Keep an eye also for your emails, and on the podcast, we're going to be announcing information about the Christmas party pretty soon.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a Christmas party. We got it locked and loaded. We're just putting in final details.
To give you some of those details, I'm out of the loop on that.
Okay. I'll
Thank
do
you. You
that.
just got the details.
That's
Well, you said it's locked and loaded. I don't even know where we're locked and loaded at.
You don't need to know.
it's okay. That's what happens when you show up late,
All
right?
right, Coop. Thank you very much. Thank you, both of you. Coop's like, you don't need to know because Coop likes to hold
I don't
hoard his
even know. It
toys.
makes me feel
Holds
better.
all
I
his
don't know it
toys.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye on your email for emails from Titan, and also otherwise we're going to be sending out. It's going to be
watching my
fun.
email.
We're doing some fun stuff. It's not out yet. I didn't send it yet.
I'm
but
looking for it.
Yeah, well, we're going to get it eventually here, so that'll be good. It's going to be a lot of fun actually. We're doing some prizes, giving away. I'll say this: we're giving away televisions,
Fantastic.
like nice TVs,
Like old bubble TV?
like good. Yeah, right.
Bubble TVs.
CRT. They're going to carry them back and
the antennas on, right?
look, Mom, this one's got a
Someone
CRT.
just said they're going to get Liam Neeson to play me. That's fantastic. I like that. Throw chop.
I have a very
Yeah, but
particular set of skills.
Liam
Good
Neeson
luck.
is actually, like
Fit?
muscular.
Hey, somebody said the muscular guy on the podcast referring to me. This is a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but they
sure?
were talking about a podcast like 6 months ago.
No, it was confirmed. They sent a picture of me. Yeah.
I have a particular set of skills.
Ask Cortese. What is
You
he
put
Irish?
enough. You put. I think
I
he's
got a
more.
particular set of skills, buddy.
No, that wasn't quite Irish there.
Oh, Lord.
You
That's
put
an
down the
FA.
chips in the dip, they'll disappear. Hide under the
The
bed.
fish and chips, eh?
Describe
From the pub.
describe the chips in the dip to me. I don't know you. I will find you. I will eat you. I will drink all of your
Do the heavy
alcohol.
breathing.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I just finished a double quarter
I'm
pounder.
coming for you. Then it's a shot of some like burrito
right.
running for his life.
Coop could be played by Jonah Hill. Listen here.
Ah, that's
Listen
good.
here.
Listen,
40 hours a week you like gone.
That'd be great. I'd love to see a
Gone in
recasting of the
60
podcast.
seconds.
That's good.
no,
That's
thanks,
good.
Suzanne George. Not gonna happen. I fight dirty.
You want it? You want? Oh yeah, no.
Is that DT? Assuming that's DT.
I still yet not to toot my own horn, but I've still yet to only run into like 2 people that can beat me on the fats machine. So bring it on.
He knows all the secrets. Don't let him, don't let him lie to you.
He's like the kid who
He
played
knows where all the
Mario
bodies are
Kart with
buried.
their eyes closed, or they would play. They
No,
play.
it's
Remember
Guitar
Mike
Hero. It's like
Mike Tyson's Punch Out? They could do the
Yeah.
thing with the eyes closed.
Rubik's Cube.
Well, that's really aging the Mike Tyson
Mike
Punch
Tyson
Out.
is a little.
Yeah, it is a little on the older
That's
side.
a little-
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
fine.
half these guys don't even know what that is.
a
But they all
classic.
do know Guitar Hero.
Oh, yeah.
I can never get past the 3 fingers. When you had like the 4th and 5th button.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level.
I have a friend with the guitar.
Through
the
the
Guitar
fire and
Hero.
flames.
Oh my God.
My friend, they tried to teach me how to do the where you. It's not just where because I used to do it just with the thumb going down, but you actually have to go back up before. I can't do that
Yeah,
either.
strum up and down.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I learned that when I learned how to play acoustic guitar. Ba-ding, ba-ding,
I played it once over Christmas when we visited before we
Did you have a
moved
sweater
here.
on?
I have so many sweaters. Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
But
seen
and
your
then I got
Christmas sweater.
It's good. I'll talk about it. I'm proud of that. So we got the Guitar Hero.
Holy.
And then I got it and I never played it again. Like it's fun with friends, but not so much by myself. And the Closinator, by the way, was featured on BuzzFeed. I got a ton of hits on that. It
Yeah.
was called the
I know.
Closinator.
I know.
Did you have bells on your sweater so you could like?
There were bells. There was
Bring,
the
ding.
lights were attached.
Yeah, I remember. I saw the video.
That was
Oh, the YouTube video?
yeah,
the Closinator.
I've seen
Disappointing.
it.
Disappointing is all get out.
The lighting was
Yeah,
bad.
Shaughnessy was taking a break.
lighting was
It was
rough.
he was taking a break from Lululemon discount searching, and he found all my YouTube videos.
That was.
By the
funny.
way,
He
R.I.P.
sent 'em to me.
I was going to send him some condolences. I heard it had to shut down a number of shops because of theft. So
Oh,
I was
Lulu
like,
did?
oh, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
I really hope he's okay.
I think he orders all his on Lululemon.
Oh, he gets them online. That's
Yeah.
fair.
I think he had a family member that worked there. So to be fair, I think he had connections. Like it wasn't like he went
He
out of
had
his way.
connections.
He didn't like go out of his way to shop there.
That's so
Oh,
funny.
this is great. He's gonna hate us.
Just walk down the hall. Just
I expect that to be lore too, is with Mr.
oh, that's
Lulu.
mega lore.
Hayden, I fight, I cheat and win.
Yeah, I would like to see some.
Pretty gonna bump those number up.
some Titan
Some rookie
podcast.
numbers.
I'd like to see some Titan podcast TCU fan art. That'd be funny. That'd
Like
be pretty funny.
the Horn Frogs?
No, like
TCU?
the lore that they're talking about. The
Oh, TCU is a team in college.
the
College.
Titan
College.
cinematic universe.
Oh.
Yeah,
Like instead of MCU?
yeah. It's at MCU, which is a Marvel, which kind of sort of fell apart a little bit, didn't it?
Wouldn't ours be
Well,
TCU?
people just got tired of super. I mean, it's just boom, boom, boom. So it's too much.
Incredible what they built with
Much.
that. Absolutely
Yeah.
crazy.
Hundreds of millions, probably billions. But
Yeah, billions
Oh,
of
billions
dollars.
of dollars.
No doubt.
Absolutely billions of
Yeah.
dollars.
You're $1 billion.
You're a billion.
I wish.
I don't care.
phenomenal.
You know how much
films.
easier
If
my
you were
life
$1 billion, I would spend you.
You know how much easier my life would be right now?
Peel off a couple. Give me
But
the.
I'm saying, you know how much easier my life would be right now if I was $1 billion?
I think everybody's would be easier if it was $1 billion.
I'm just saying.
How does that work if you were
How
the
much
one?
easier my life would be if I was rich?
What are you talking about? You are.
I mean,
No,
we're,
I'm not.
We're getting to Fiddler on the Roof territory over here.
My
Your
wife
Golden
my
Gates
wife-
say different.
No, my wife is smart. They're not gold.
Oh, that's right. He does have the gold. Sweetheart, there's another deer with his entrails on the Golden Gate.
That's where we get our entrail mix.
Yeah, the entrail mix.
If I
this
was
is
rich-
the special stuff. This is
Yeah.
Wagyu.
Yeah, this
From
is
McFarland
sausage.
Farms.
Chew, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a little gamey, but you'll like
I
it.
can see Ryan in like a cardigan here at McFarland Farms. When we impale our deer
like a
on the
South Park-
golden
that's like a South
fences
Park
from the
episode.
North Field, you get only the greatest venison that you can enjoy.
I saved the backstraps.
McFarland, and then it's just a shot of him rolling off in his giant John Deere just into the sunset.
Zero,
You better if it was like a
zero
white-
turning radius, I believe.
like a white horse. That's just zero turn radius.
McFarland
0 degree,
Farms.
zero
See,
turn.
see, I'm telling you.
It's called a zero turn thing.
I'd
very
buy
much.
McFarland Farm products,
Hustler.
wouldn't you?
I'll sell you anything you want.
Pumpkin spice
right
everything.
Tell me what you want. I'll sell
I
it to
guarantee you one of the venisons he'd sell
It's
would be
premium.
pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin
venison.
spice
you. Yeah.
venison.
Wow, I said deja vu.
I said that's. I said the other day that's. I think one of the
crazy
best.
deja vu.
One of the greatest things to happen
Wow.
to capitalism is pumpkin spice, which I'm all
Sure.
for. Like, bring
That's
it on,
weird.
right? But
Ugh,
pumpkin
that's
spice
really
everything.
I watched a
aggressive
meme.
deja vu.
I watched a meme about pumpkin spice, and it's 100% true.
Which meme?
It shows this lady going through when pumpkin spice first hits at a coffee shop. I'm not going to name it, but they do in the meme. And she orders a pumpkin spice. They give it to her. She drinks it. She takes the cap off and just like inhales it. Drives back
Oh, yeah, it
around.
goes
Gets another one, and
Oh,
she's
the
evolved into
cartoon.
like a little bit of a pumpkin.
Oh,
She gets
no.
another one, inhales it, drives back around, and then like there's another car on that one, and she just and pushes past it.
I wish if I would have thought of it. There's a comedian on YouTube. I can't remember what his name is, but he does a fall video every year.
Trevor something. I know who you're talking about.
If anybody's watching that remembers, I would.
Trevor something.
Is it
He's coming-
Trevor?
He's coming to Kansas City too.
I don't know
He's
if it's
really
Trevor.
funny. He's like pumpkin spice.
Yeah, and it's like with the sweaters and
Taylor,
the hats.
maybe?
It's
Yeah.
something like that. If
He
you
did
guys
pu-
know the name,
the pumpkin patch one. I'll look it up.
I'm curious what everybody's favorite fall. So the
Titan's entrail mix is naturally and organically sourced.
yeah, Soylent Green is people, but everybody's favorite fall things are. So we've got the nieces and
God,
nephews.
we've fallen.
I love doing the pumpkin patches with the
Trey
whole,
Kennedy.
Trey Kennedy. Thank you.
Yep, that
You're
guy.
way off. Phenomenal. Yeah, well,
It's
that's
TRE.
yeah. Trey Kennedy.
VOR
His
or
fall
Y?
video just came out today, I think. But I always look forward to
His
it. I
new
think
one?
it's- Yeah, it's stupid and funny and
Oh,
amazing.
they're hilarious.
But we
2
like
days
the
ago, 2023. Girls during fall be like
yeah.
2023.
That's it.
Oh no.
Oh, it's so funny.
Kind of want to play a little snippet of it.
So
Is
good.
it safe for?
I don't think he puts inappropriate stuff out. No, so
this is an ad.
I mean, not that it matters, but
Talking about entrail mix.
yeah,
Entrails?
they
What?
may say something slightly inappropriate, but
We're
no,
talking
it's
about
it's
deer
good
being-
stuff.
I don't know if it's going to pick that up.
This is a video podcast, you know that, right?
Yeah, I could just
It's really
look it
funny.
Up. I could just look it up.
Yeah, go ahead and we'll
No, that's
vamp
all
here
right.
for a minute
That's
if you
all
want to. I'm not sure what the copyright is.
Well, yeah. Let's wait till we see it.
Trey Kennedy.
Yeah.
No, I
Let's-
think it's always. I saw the last year one. It's freaking. It's hilarious. But
I'd say let's save that for Friday.
Oh, okay. We'll have it. We'll reach out to his people, make sure we don't get her butt suit off.
His people.
Yeah, it's not like Disney where it's like we're gonna mention the mouse for half a second. They're like, we'll sue you to eternity.
Gus
They're-
Gus.
Well,
Gus Gus.
that's the last podcast we're going to have. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you everybody.
We'll see you guys. We're shutting the lights
It's been
off.
a good show.
He mentioned Disney. We're over.
It's been a good run. So yeah, those are good
Oh,
times.
speaking of Disney, there's a new Haunted Mansion out on Disney Plus. It's actually really
Is it good?
It is
I was
actually-
There's a
really
what?
nervous.
It is well done.
A new
because-
haunted mansion,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like a TV series or
No,
something.
movie.
or-
They have some. So I haven't been to the ride since I was like this tall and don't remember. But so they have
Last
a Haunted
week.
Mansion. Yeah, last week. They have a.
Isn't that you now when you're rolling
Steroids.
around? You're about this tall and you don't remember
I
anything?
had to borrow a wheelchair for my injury. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Thank you, Kim.
there's some ties to the ride, the actual Disney ride,
Uh-huh.
and then as far as like the story, it's actually pretty good.
So is this?
And
like-
I'm pretty critical
you
of
said it's on
anything
Disney
new.
Plus.
Yeah, it's called Haunted Mansion. It's
Mm-hmm.
about a mansion that's haunted and its family. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. Yeah, Disney's been batting 0 for 0
Yes,
for a while.
no, I agree.
For
Like
me
over
now.
8, over 8 of the
Yeah,
last
it's like,
8 movies
nope,
they made. Like the Peter Pan movie, didn't even watch it.
No thanks.
Yeah.
No.
Sarah, thanks for joining us.
Bye,
But,
Sarah.
Just watch it.
All right.
You'll thank me later. It's actually well done.
Is it
I'll
called,
watch it again
is it
before
called
Halloween.
the Haunted Mansion?
Yes.
Danny DeVito's in it, I think.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Danny's in it. Owen Wilson's in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Okay.
gee, a haunted mansion.
Wow.
Wow, a haunted.
No,
wow.
no,
I can't. I've never tried a Owen
All right,
Wilson.
I'm muting both of you.
Wow.
I thought he was gonna do the censor button. I like the censor.
Wow.
Wow. I don't do a good Owen Wilson. I've never really tried an Owen Wilson. Oh,
Well, you just really gotta kind of have to.
yeah, just bring it up there to the.
Get
He's
a little
more in the
nasally,
front.
yeah, a little nasally, and just talk
there
like
in the
this.
front.
Wow, yeah. What do you think about
What did you do to my stuff?
Yeah, we really
Haunted
should
Mansion.
walk in here, guys.
Yeah, wow.
That's a really bad Owen. I feel bad.
Christopher Walken. I told you, don't do that again. That's not terrible.
Oh Lord, what have we?
That'd be terrible if you talk bad about my movie.
Yeah,
I'd hate to shut down your podcast.
that's gonna be their life from now on.
Aggressive- It's just such an aggressive
boy.
bleep.
I'll turn.
Really aggressive, man.
I'm just
All right.
aggressive. We're just gonna do that.
You give Coop a little bit of power.
Yeah, I know. I got all the buttons. He says. Boop beep boop boop. He's that kid
Wow.
with the Simon Says. He's like, you can't play with
Wow.
this.
It's okay. We're gonna go back to when we get to Halloween this
Wow.
year. I'm gonna do something we didn't do last year because I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, he did it last year, and he wouldn't. I told you.
I didn't
about
know
this.
how.
He knew how.
Oh, the voice.
He didn't know how to do it for his microphone, so
Yeah.
he wouldn't allow me to
I
have it on
figured
my
it's that
microphone.
you must have made a new button.
He could only
I
Yeah.
do
figured
it.
it out.
Yeah,
I
of
couldn't.
course
I
you
couldn't
did.
figure
It
it
only
out.
worked on my microphone.
We have to do
So
just
he
slip
wouldn't
on.
let me
So
use
no,
it.
let's do this right.
Oh.
It worked on everybody else's
Today
microphone.
on Couples
except for
Therapy
his.
is
And here's
Titan
the thing,
Protection.
it worked on my microphone, but I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, so he refused to let anybody else have joy because he couldn't have
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So
He deprived every single podcast listener
Yeah.
out there of joy because he didn't have
In-
the ability to hear it.
in the role
I
of
want you guys to know that
I
he
want-
deprives you.
I wanted to have the joy myself. It's not fair.
in order to
It
help
is fair.
in order to help facilitate you
for the greater good.
McFarlane, on your third relationship that I'm aware of, how did that make you feel when he-
sometimes I just cry about it when I think about it.
Yeah, we need to do something for Halloween. Can you guys commit to dressing up on well, it's going to be Tuesday.
Maybe.
Man.
We can do a special Tuesday podcast or do it on Monday.
Monday.
I mean, I'm not
That's a
going to
lot
like.
of quiet time. That's a lot of
Me
dead
dressing
time
up,
right there.
I'm going to bring a mask and I'm going to put a mask on during the podcast.
Leave
I
a
tried to
comment
wear a
if you
mask
guys
during
want
that.
him. If you'd like to see these guys
Not
on
wearing
Monday
makeup, yeah.
of
I'll
Halloween.
I'll wear a mask.
Yeah, we'll do masks and he'll do the voice.
It's a cool, oh yeah,
Oh,
Monday podcast.
that's good.
Always do it like
Oh, it's both of you guys.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it when it was just me.
We know we've
couldn't hear it.
established this.
Yeah, he
How to
was
make
like, I
you-
can't
yep.
hear it, so nobody gets to
Well,
enjoy this.
my theory was, and it still stands, that if I can't hear it, then I don't know it's still on.
I can tell you.
You wouldn't.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would.
You do the whole
tell ya.
podcast.
Coop, I can't hear myself anymore.
We're like, no, it's fine.
You would do the whole
like the
podcast sounding
door
like
and-
that and never tell me.
It is a little bit of a mental trick to do that because you hear it and so you kind of do this, but you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to.
It's a bit of a mental game
It's just
there.
a natural, deep voice.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the weather?
Yeah. What's the weather?
So I'm prepared for that.
How would you?
You're prepared.
Would you say this was a good podcast today, or
Fantastic for what the point I was in. It was probably bad until I got here. According
Yeah,
to Susan
I think
and
it was.
George.
I think it was great before you got here. Kind of divvied off there.
as
Well,
usual,
fine
making things better everywhere you go?
That's what I do, man.
All
That's what
right.
I'm here
So for the weather,
Can we
I'm
do
not-
the weather?
I'm not going to do this like how he had it pulled up on there because I didn't know you did that.
What's the weather like?
So we're looking
Yeah,
at
that was
Tuesday.
fancy.
Hey
Yeah,
Ryan,
it
what are we
was.
doing with the weather? Do
he
you
did
think?
fancy weather.
I'm sorry.
All right. Now that they're out of the picture.
I'm just gonna leave.
So Tuesday
See?
we're looking at 78 degrees. It's going to be cloudy. 6% chance of rain. Wednesday we're looking at sunny all day, 77. Thursday high winds at 61 degrees. Friday it's going to be 66. Cloud coverage in the afternoon. Saturday we're looking at 71. Sunday we're looking at 73. No clouds either one.
Silent night.
What are you doing?
This background music for the weather. Yeah, from here on, it's only Christmas
He's
in
gonna
my
cut us
mind.
off again. He had like what two weeks. 2 weeks he was.
Yeah, I
he
can't
wasn't
push any
here, so
buttons.
he's like, I need
I
to have
can't shut anybody
control.
up.
No,
I must have it.
I did for the 2 weeks I wasn't here. I wasn't even thinking of work.
Yeah.
I
Fair
was
enough.
preoccupied.
A little bit.
But now that you're back, you're like, ooh,
Ooh,
the
yeah,
power.
all the buttons.
I have the
Yeah, are
power.
you this way from now on? It's Christmas.
Yes, he's like this from now until Christmas.
Me too.
Yep.
And he's like this
I'm
for like
excited.
2 months after Christmas.
Yeah, like we're gonna put up the Christmas tree. I'm sure. Like the other last weekend,
He already
Danielle's
has
like,
his up.
my wife is like, it's
No,
going
not yet.
here, and I'm that
My
way
wife-
too.
my
I'm
wife
Christmas.
jokingly
I
said
always
it.
say it's always Christmas in my heart.
We gotta go. We gotta go. It is. the season of giving.
Suzanne, thanks for
we have
joining
to go
us.
through Halloween, and then the Christmas tree will go up. It'll be up before the turkey's cut. I guarantee it.
Oh, I know it is. I'm surprised it's not up yet.
We want to finish.
Bye,
Halloween.
Suzanne. Send your cookies.
Cool,
Suzanne?
guys. Well, I appreciate
So
it.
I
Great
said,
to
other
have
than
you.
that,
Good to
we-
have you back.
Yeah, yay, everybody. Big round of applause for
I
Coop.
appreciate you guys
Missed
picking
it.
up the slack while I was gone. So
Sure.
thank you so much.
Of course, it was actually really easy. We don't need you.
Yeah, not a big deal.
Okay, well, you guys can do this for that one.
And you get to turn it off.
And we're done later. So we appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much
Anything
for
we
everything
need
you
to
guys do
do
in
for
the field.
preparing for the week, or I mean,
What was this?
does it?
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
I haven't gotten there yet. You're beating me to it. You gotta let
premature.
me-
You're ending the show. I thought you were
no,
gonna.
it's the last thing I
It's over.
say.
I can feel like the. Am I
Look,
ruining your?
You're taking this. From
Should I
being,
shut
you're
up?
taking this
Yeah.
from being a phenomenal show to being a not so
Not
phenomenal.
so phenomenal.
Mediocre.
See,
Three
I
out of
work them in
5
at the
stars.
end. Okay, you're killing me.
Okay.
All right. So we appreciate
Okay.
everything you guys do. I'm just no,
See, he can't help it. He's just like, I want to turn
just with him. Just with him.
I'm a
Turn it
third
off,
wheel.
just
I
turn it
know
off.
this.
We appreciate you guys for everything you do. It allows us to continue to make fun of each other and pick on me, apparently. So
right.
thank you so much. We appreciate it, guys. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. So thank you so much.
So I'm going to turn his off.
Hit the button.
I've watched enough to see which ones are ours and which ones
Oh, you've been over there watching the whole time. You're like,
I can tell you which one's mine. I'll happily. It's right there.
you're like usual suspects here.
I got long
I can do
arms.
this too. So appreciate it, guys, so much. Please remember, with the weather changing, we always, of course, want to stay hydrated. Hydration is the day before, not the day of.
Not the day
Ba-ding.
of.
So thanks, guys. We appreciate it. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye,
Peace
guys.
out.